What's up, Sparkman family? It's your boy Sparkman, and welcome back to another video. I woke up this morning and I thought to myself, let me try to be a little bit more positive on these tins. Let me try to have a change of heart. But then I just remembered I'm Sparkman. I hate these friggin' tins, everybody. I don't like these tins. But in all seriousness, I actually woke up this morning and I made a pros and cons list, and I've been looking at more pros aside because I wanted to make a video to see whether or not these tins can succeed this year. Now, we can go back and forth about tins of the past. Obviously, I think I've seen that in my comment section a lot, but obviously a lot of people know I'm not a fan of the way it's designed and the way it's produced in terms of having the mega pack the way it is. I think that we should have a promo pack and all this other stuff, but I'm not going to get to that right now. If you want to get into that, go look at my other videos. There's a lot of comments on that one, and disagreements and agreements here and there, but for the most part, I would say they're disagreements. It's expected. But we can debate this all we want, but every year's tins speak for themselves. We look back a year later and we're like, okay, well, they kind of sucked. Actually, they kind of failed. And when we look at a lot of channels that talk about the tins a year later, they literally say what I said just a year later, saying, oh yeah, they actually did not do so well. They're actually a failure. So, copycatting me, but a year later. So I just tell it how it is from the get-go. But talking about these tins and trying to understand how these tins this year can be a success is a challenging one. But I actually did make a list, and I thought to myself, these are actually pretty good qualities that could make the tins valuable. Now, it's a 400 card set, not very easy to pull the card you want. So in that sense and purposes, it may be a little tough to pull your SPL Knight, maybe hard to pull your Sky Crisis, your Abyssal Dissipator, your Crimson Dragon, whatever you're looking for. It might be hard to pull that as a secret rare copy. You talk about previous year's tins. I don't think the set size was this huge, and there could be a lot more value in that sense that it's hard to pull the card you're looking for in that sense as well, giving the tins a little bit more value as well, and chasing the card you want maybe a little harder than previous years past. And then I thought to myself, another point, obviously they cannot reprint QCRs like SP Little Knight as a QCR or Sky Crisis, for example. However, they can reprint that QCR in that artwork. What is stopping Konami now from printing those cards like SPL Knight and Sky Crisis as QCRs but in a different artwork? What's stopping them from doing it to Crimson Dragon but in a different artwork, right? So I don't think anything is stopping them. I think it would actually add value to the tins and create a little bit more of want and chase in the set for people to want to grab it. I think that would be a great aspect of the tins as well. Giving the tins a little bit more momentum, right? So, obviously Konami has been marketing this tin, at least this year, much more heavily, and I would say this product in general much more heavily than any other product they have in the past few years. We're seeing it with, releasing, rarity copies of certain things every Tuesday and Thursday, doing little promos of like what's going to be on the tin, featuring like Honest, Ubel, the SDK Blue Eye. So we've been featuring a little bit more marketing. We're seeing a little bit more marketing from them because they realize this year's tins really do need to succeed and people need to buy into them. So they're doing a heavy more marketing plan on their part for this year's product line for the tins. So in all intents and purposes, yes, they do want this product to succeed, so they might go that route. Now, that's just speculation of having alternate artworks as QCRs. That's just speculation from me, but, it may be a thing because, again, we haven't or seen the rarity of these cards yet, and these cards may end up as QCRs just as an alternate artwork, as we've been seeing with a lot of the other cards as alternate artworks for this set so far. Like Harpy's Feather Duster, Regeki as different art versions as QCRs here in this year's tins. The tin design is very beautiful. I've stated that in the past, so that's going for it as well. I think it's an extraordinary job of what they did here. Obviously, when I look at this tin, and I've said it before, getting a quarter century secret rare is never really a great thing. However, I started to take a look at this in a more different sense where this is reminding me a lot of another product. Now, you think to yourself, 3 QCRs per product, what other set, what other product does that? And I just thought to myself, Rarity Collection. Rarity Collection does that. Rarity Collection, you get 3 QCRs per box. Rarity Collection 1 did it, Rarity Collection 2 did it. We're seeing that with the tins. Now, I'm not saying this is Rarity Collection 3 or anything like that, but maybe it is, right? 3 QCRs per tin. Sounds a little familiar to me. Maybe a little copycat of the older product in Rarity Collection 1 and 2, but just a miniature version. Now, obviously, Rarity Collection 1 had a lot of staple cards that we needed from the past as QCRs, and it was very, very great set. I mean, just so much going for it, right? It just blew my mind of how amazing that set was, and it actually ended up being on top of it after release. Rarity Collection 2 had a lot of hype going into it and bombed afterwards. Obviously, what I will say with Rarity Collection 2, it will have future success in the market with a lot of those cards still being staple cards, just not cards people are really gravitating towards, but also balance season's coming out, so they're expecting certain cards in that set to be banned, so they're a little scared to, raise the price in that those cards. So I get it from that sense and purposes, but not to stray away from what the subject is right now. But this does look like a Rarity Collection 3 because it does have cards from the past, right? Yubel, SDK Blue Eyes. You have Honest, some pretty cool cards in this one, but also some staple cards that are needed for decks. Sky Crisis, Bishul Dispater, SPL Knight, Crimson Dragon. So there is cards that are in this set that mimic a version of Rarity Collection, not the same way, obviously, not like your Infinite Impermanence, not like those cards like your Ash Blossom, but in a way, this could be a miniature version of that. That's all I'm saying. So just to give it maybe a little bit more push, maybe it might reflect or represent a little miniature version of those sets. Maybe Bananas is actually Rarity Collection 4, who knows. We've been saying Bananas is Rarity Collection 3, but maybe this one is the miniature version, that is, and then we actually have Rarity Collection 4 and Bonanza. But those are some points as to make these tins a little bit more valuable, make them worth getting. Obviously, I still have my cons about it, still have my faults about how I feel about the tins. I'm not overly excited about them, but I think that in those sense, and in that sense, maybe we can see the tins actually succeeding if they were to go those certain routes. And if they're trying to copycat that type of style, I get what they're trying to do as well. So maybe that's their leverage in trying to grab the market back as well. As the last year promo cards, which in all sense and purposes was a bust, that really wasn't promo cards, but they're trying to do it a little bit differently with going about it this way. And maybe it can succeed going about it this way. But I want to hear from you all. What do you think about that? Do you think we're going to have alternate artworks as QCRs in these tins, like SPL Knight as a QCR and all those fun stuff like I mentioned? Do you think that because being a 400 card set is going to make the tins valuable? Do you think this is maybe a Rarity Collection 3 but miniaturized version? If there's any positive things I missed, maybe that could go for the tins, let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you have to say. Obviously, a lot of people know how I feel about the tins, but I'm trying to have a more positive outlook on it and try to think of the more positive stuff that may be going for it moving forward as well. But obviously, like I said, I'd love to hear what you say. But from yours truly, Sparkman, we'll catch you in the next one. Please subscribe and comment, and peace out, YouTube.